Yahudah, chapter 1. A copy of the words of Yahudah, the words he spoke to his Banim before he died. They gathered themselves together, therefore, and came to him. And he said to them, Listen, my Banim, to Yahudah your father. I was the fourth Ban, born to my father Yaaqub, and Leah my mother named me Yahudah, saying, I give thanks to Yahuwah, because he has given me a fourth Ban also. I was swift in my youth, and obedient to my father in all, and I honored my mother and my mother's sister. And it came to be, when I became a male, that my father baraked me, saying, You shall be a sovereign, prospering in all matters. And Yahuwah showed me favor in all my works, both in the field and in the house. Chapter 2, by the way. I know that I raced a deer, and caught it, and prepared the meat for my father, and he ate. And the gazelles I used to overcome in the chase, and overtake all that was in the plains. I overtook a wild horse, and caught it, and tamed it. I slew a lion, and snatched a kid out of its mouth. I took a bear by its paw, and hurled it down a cliff, and it was crushed. I outran the wild boar, and seizing it as I ran, I tore it in pieces. And Habrun, a leopard, leaped on my dog, and I caught it by the tail, and hurled it on the rocks, and it was broken in two. I found a wild ox feeding in the fields, and seizing it by the horns, and spinning it around and stunning it, I threw it from me, and slew it. Chapter 3. And when the sovereigns of the Canaanites came sheathed in armor against our flocks, and much people with them, I single-handedly rushed upon the sovereign of Hatzor, and smote him on the shin guards, and dragged him down, and so I slew him. And the other, sovereign of Tappuah, I slew as he sat upon his horse, and so I scattered all his people. And I found Akur, the sovereign of a male, of great height, hurling spears before and behind as he sat on horseback. And I lifted a stone of 5,000 shekels weight, and threw it, and smote his horse, and killed it. And I fought with the other two for hours. And I split his shield in two, and I cut off his feet, and killed him. And as I was stripping off his breastplate, see, 9 males, his companions, began to fight with me. And I wound my garment on my hand, or wound my garment on my hand, and I slung stones at them, and killed 4 of them, and the rest fled. And Yaaqub my father slew Baal-Ashath, sovereign of all the sovereigns, and a giant in strength 12 amah high. And fear fell upon them, and they ceased fighting against us. Therefore my father was free from anxiety in the battles when I was young, with my brothers. For he saw in a vision concerning me that a mighty messenger followed me everywhere, that I should not be overcome. Chapter 4. And in the south there came upon us a greater battle than that in Shechem. And I joined in battle array with my brothers, and pursued 1,000 males, and slew of them 200 males and 4 sovereigns. And I went up upon the wall, and I slew 4 mighty males. So we captured Hatzor, and took all the spoil. Chapter 5. On the next day we departed to Aratan, a city strong and walled and inaccessible, threatening us with death. But God and I approached on the east side of the city, and Reuben and Louis on the west. And those that were upon the wall, thinking that we were alone, were drawn down against us. And so my brothers secretly climbed up the wall on both sides with stakes, and entered into the city while the males did not know, and we took it with the edge of the sword. And as for those who had taken refuge in the tower, we lit fire to the tower, and took both it and them. And as we were departing, the males of Tappuah rushed on our spoil, and delivering it up to our Banim, we fought them as far as Tappuah. And we slew them, and burnt their city, and took all that was in it as spoil. Chapter 6. And when I was at the waters of Kuzabah, the males of Yubal came against us to battle, and we fought with them, and routed them, and we slew their allies from Shiloh. We did not leave them strength to come against us. And the males of Machir came upon us the 5th day to seize our spoil, and we attacked them and overcame them in fierce battle. For there was a host of mighty males amongst them, and we slew them before they had gone up the ascent. And when it came to their city, their females rolled stones upon us from the brow of the hill on which the city stood. And Shimun and I hid ourselves behind the town, and took hold of the heights, and destroyed this city also. And the next day it was reported that the sovereign of the city of Gaash was coming with a mighty host against us. Therefore Dan and I disguised ourselves as Amorites, and as allies went into their city. And the depth of our night, our brothers came, and we opened the gates to them, and we destroyed all the males and took and their possessions, and we took as plunder all that was theirs, and we broke down their 3 walls. And we drew near to Timnah, where all the possessions of the opposing sovereigns was. Then, being insulted by them, I was therefore wroth, and rushed against them to the summit. And they kept slinging against me stones and darts, and had Dan, my brother, not aided me, they would have slain me. Therefore we came upon them with wrath, and they all fled. And passing by another way, they pleaded with my father, and he made peace with them. And we did not no harm to them, and they became compulsory labor to us, and we restored their goods to them. And I built Timnah, and my father built Pavabal. I was 20 years old when this battle took place. And the Canaanites feared me and my brothers. Chapter 8. And I had much livestock, and I had Hirah the Adulamite for chief herds person. And when I went to him, I saw Parsabah, sovereign of Adulam, and he spoke to us, and he made us a feast. And when I was warmed, he gave me his daughter Bathshua as wife. She bare me Ar and Unan and Shelah. And Yahudah smote 2 of them, for Shelah lived, and you are his children. Chapter 9. In 18 years my father dwelt in peace with his brother Esau, and his Banim with us. After that we came from Aram Naharaim from Laban, and when 18 years were completed in the 40th year of my high, Esau, the brother of my father, came upon us with a mighty and strong people, and Yaaqub smote Esau with an arrow, and he was taken up wounded on Mount Zair, and he went and he died at Anun Iram, and we pursued after the Banim of Esau. Now they had a city with walls of iron, gates of brass, and we could not enter into it. And we encamped around and besieged it. And when they had not opened to us in 20 days, I put up a ladder in the sight of all, and with my shield upon my head, I went up, sustaining the assault of stones, upward of 3 talents in weight. And I slew 4 of their mighty males, and Reuben and Gad slew 6 others. And they asked terms of peace from us, and having taken counsel with our father, we took them as compulsory labor, and they gave us 500 cores of wheat, 500 baths of oil, 500 measures of wine, until the scarcity of food, and we went down into Mitzrayim. Chapter 10. And after these events, my Ban Ar took Tamar from Aram Naharaim as wife, a daughter of Aram. Now Ar was wicked, and he was in need concerning Tamar, because she was not of the land of Canaan. And on the 3rd night a messenger of Yahudah smote him, and he had not known her, according to the evil craftiness of his mother, for he did not desire to have children by her. And the days of the wedding feast I gave Unan to her in marriage, and he also in wickedness did not know her, though he spent a year with her. When I threatened him, he went into her, but he spilled the seed on the ground, according to the command of his mother, and he also died through wickedness. And I intended to give Shelah also to her, but his mother did not permit it, for she did evil against Tamar, because she was not of the daughters of Canaan, as she also herself was. Chapter 11. And I knew that the nation of the Canaanites was wicked, but the impulse of youth blinded my heart. And when I saw her pouring out wine, owing the drunkenness of wine, I was deceived. And I took her, although my father had not advised. And while I was away, she went and took a wife from Canaan for Shelah. And when I knew that she had done, I cursed her in the anguish of my being. And she also died through her wickedness together with her banim. Chapter 12. And after these events, while Tamar was a widow, she heard after 2 years that I was going up to shear my sheep, and adorned herself in bridal array, and sat by the gate in the city of Anaim. For it was a law of the Amorites that she who was about to marry should sit 7 days in whoring by the gate. Therefore, being drunk with wine, I did not recognize her, and her loveliness deceived me through the appearance of her adorning. And I turned aside to her and said, Let me come in to you. And she said, What do you give me? And I gave her my staff and my cord, and the signet of my ring and pledge. And I went in unto her, and she conceived. Not knowing what I had done, I intended to put her to death. But she secretly sent my pledges, and put me to shame. And when I called her, I also heard the words which I spoke when lying with her in my drunkenness. And I could not put her to death, because it was from Yahudah. For I said, Possibly she did it shrewdly, having received the pledge from another female. But I did not come near her again while I lived, because I had done this abomination in all Yizraal. Moreover, they who were in the city said, There was no whore in the gate, because she came from another place, and sat for a while in the gate. And I thought that no one knew that I had gone into her. And after this we came into Mitzrayim to Yosef, because of the scarcity of food. And I was 46 years old, and I lived 73 years in Mitzrayim. Chapter 13. And now I command you, my banim, listen to Yahudah, your father, and guard my words to perform all the laws of Yahudah, and to obey the commands of Elohim. Do not walk after your lusts, nor in the imaginations of your thoughts and haughtiness of heart, and do not exult in the deeds of strength of your youth, for this is also evil in the eyes of Yahudah. Since I also exulted in that in battles, no comely female's face ever enticed me, and reproved Rauban, my brother, concerning Bilhah, the wife of my father. The Rukut of jealousy and whoring arrayed themselves against me, until I lay with Bashua, the Canaanite, and Tamar, who was married to my banim. For I said to my father-in-law, I shall take counsel with my father, and so I shall take your daughter. And he was unwilling. But he showed me a boundless store of gold in his daughter's behalf. For he was a sovereign, and he adorned her with gold and pearls, and made her pour out wine for us at the feast with loveliness of female. And the wine turned aside my eyes, and pleasure blinded my heart, and I became desirous, and I lay with her, and transgressed the command of Yahudah, and the command of my fathers, and I took her as wife. And Yahudah repaid me according to the imagination of my heart, inasmuch as I had no joy in her children. Chapter 14. And now, my banim, I say to you, do not be drunk with wine, for wine turns the heart away from the truth, and arouses the passion of lust, and leads the eyes into error. For the root of whoring has wine as a servant to give pleasure to the heart. For these two also take away the heart of male. For if a male drinks wine to drunkenness, it disturbs the heart with filthy thoughts leading to whoring, and inflames the body to fleshly union. And if the occasion of lust is present, he works the crime and is not ashamed. Such is the drunken male, my banim, for he who is drunk esteems no male. See, it also led me astray, so that I was not ashamed of the multitude in the city, and that before the eyes of all I turned aside to Tamar. And I committed a great crime, and I uncovered the coverings of my banim's shame. After I had drunk wine, I did not revere the command of Elohim, and I took a female of Canaan as wife, for the male who drinks wine needs much discretion, my banim, and in this is discretion in drinking wine. A male may drink as long as he maintains decency, but if he goes beyond this limit, the spirit of deceit attacks his heart, and it makes the drunkard to talk filthily, and to transgress, and not to be ashamed, but even to boast in his shame, and to consider himself esteemed. Chapter 15. He that commits whoring is not aware when he suffers loss, and is not ashamed when put to shame. And even though a male is a sovereign and commits whoring, he is stripped of his sovereignty by becoming the slave of whoring, as I myself also suffered. For I gave my staff that is the support of my tribe, and my cord that is my power, and my signet that is the esteem of my reign. And indeed I repented of these matters. Wine and meat I did not eat until my old age, nor did I see any joy. And the messenger of Elohim showed me that females rule over the sovereign and beggar alike forever. And from the sovereign they take away his esteem, and from the brave male his might, and from the beggar even that little which is the support of his poverty. Chapter 16. And so, my banim, observe the limit in wine, for in it there are 4 evil ruku, of lust, of heated desire, of recklessness, and of greedy gain. If you drink wine in gladness, be moderate in the reverence of Elohim. For if in gladness the reverence of Elohim turns away, then drunkenness arises, and shamelessness sneaks in. But if you would live sensibly, do not touch wine at all, lest you crime in words of outrage, and in fightings, and slanders, and transgressions of commands of Elohim, and you perish before your time. Moreover, wine reveals the secrets of Elohim and males, even as I also revealed the commands of Elohim, and the secrets of Yaaqub my father, to the Canaanite female Bathshua, which Elohim commanded me not to reveal. And wine is a cause of both fighting and confusion. Chapter 17. And now I command you, my banim, not to love silver, nor to gaze upon the loveliness of females, because for the sake of silver and loveliness I was led astray to Bathshua, the Canaanite. For I know that because of these 2 matters my people shall fall into wickedness, for they shall destroy even wise males among my banim, and shall cause the reign of Yahudah to be diminished, which Yahudah gave me because of my obedience to my father. For I never caused grief to Yaaqub my father, for all that he commanded I did. And Yitzchak, the father of my father, baraked me to be sovereign in Yizraal, and Yaaqub likewise further baraked me, and I know that from me the reign shall be established. Chapter 18. And I know what evils you shall do in the last days. Beware therefore, my banim, of whoring and the love of silver, and listen to Yahudah your father, for these matters withdraw you from the law of Elohim, and blind the inclination of the being, and teach arrogance, and do not allow a male to have compassion on his neighbor. They rob his being of all goodness, and oppress him with tolls and troubles, and drive away sleep from him, and devour his flesh. And he inhibits the offerings of Elohim, and he does not remember the barakah of Elohim. He does not speak to a Nabi when he speaks, and resents the words of righteousness. For he is a slave to 2 contrary passions, and cannot obey Elohim because they have blinded his being. And he walks in the day as in the night. Chapter 19. My banim, the love of silver leads to idolatry, because when led astray through silver, males name as mighty ones those who are not mighty ones, and it causes them who has it to fall into madness. For the sake of silver I lost my banim, and had not my repentance and my humiliation, and the palal of my father been accepted, I should have died childless. But the alaim of my fathers had favor in me, because I did it in ignorance. And the prince of deceit blinded me, and I cried as a male and as flesh, being corrupted through crimes. And I learned my own weakness while thinking myself untouchable. Chapter 20. Know therefore, my banim, that two rukut wait upon a male, the spirit of truth and the spirit of deceit. And in the midst is the spirit of understanding of the heart, to which it belongs to turn wherever it desires. And the works of truth and the works of deceit are written upon the hearts of males, and Yahudah knows each one of them. And there is no time at which the works of males can be hid, for they have been written on the heart itself before Yahudah. And the spirit of truth testifies all matters, and accuses all. And the lawless is burnt up by his own heart, and cannot raise his face to the judge. Chapter 21. And now, my banim, I command you, love Louis, that you may abide, and do not exalt yourself against him, lest you be utterly destroyed. For Yahudah gave the reign to me, and the kahuna to him, and he appointed to reign beneath the kahuna. To me he gave the matters upon the arets, and to him the matters in the shamayim. As the shamayim is higher than the arets, so is the kahuna of alaim higher than the earthly reigns, unless it falls away through the crimes of Yahudah, and is dominated by the aretsly reign. For the messenger of Yahudah said to me, Yahudah choose him rather than you, to draw near to him, and to eat of his table, and to offer him the firstfruits and the best of the banims of Yizraal. But you shall be sovereign of Yaaqub, and you shall be amongst them as the sea. For as on the sea righteous and unrighteous are tossed about, some taken into captivity, while some are enriched, so also shall every nation of males be in you. Some shall be impoverished, being taken captive, and others grow rich by plundering the possessions of others. For the sovereigns shall be as the sea monsters, they shall swallow males like fishes, they shall enslave the banim and daughters of free males, houses, lands, flocks, silver, they shall plunder, and with the flesh of much they shall unrighteously feed the ravens and the storks, and they shall advance in evil raised in covetousness. And there shall be false prophets like Tempest, and they shall persecute all righteous males. Chapter 22. And Yahudah shall bring upon them divisions, one against another, and there shall be continual battles in Yizraal. My reign shall be brought to an end among the males of other people, until the salvation of Israel comes, until the appearing of the alaim of righteousness, that Yaaqub and all the Gentiles may rest in peace, and he shall guard the might of my reign forever. For Yahudah swore to me an oath that he would not destroy the reign from my seed forever. Chapter 23. Now I have much grief, my banim, because of your wickedness, and sorceries, and idolatries, which you shall practice against the reign, following mediums, diviners, and demons of error. You shall make your daughters singing girls and whores, and you shall mix in the abominations of the Gentiles. For because of these Yahudah shall bring upon you a scarcity of food, and pestilence, death, and the sword, distressed by enemies, the reviling of friends, the slaughter of children, the violation of wives, the plundering of possessions, the burning of Hakal of Allahim, the laying waste of the land, the enslavement of yourselves among the nations, and they shall make some of you eunuchs for their wives, until Yahudah visits you, when you repent with a perfect heart and walk in all his commands, and he brings you up from captivity among the nations. Chapter 24. And after these events, a star shall arise to you from Yaaqub in peace, and a male shall arise from my seed, like the brilliance of righteousness, walking with the Ba'anim males in meekness and righteousness, and no crime shall be found in him. And the Shemayim shall be open to him, to pour out the Ruch, the Barakah of the Kadush Father, and he shall pour out the Ruch of favor upon you, and you shall be Ba'anim unto him in truth, and you shall walk in his command first and last. Then the scepter of my reign shall shine forth, and from your root a sprout shall arise, and from it shall grow a rod of righteousness to the Gentiles, to rightly rule and to save all that call upon Yahudah. Chapter 25. And after these matters, Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaaqub shall arise to Hai, and my brothers and I shall be chiefs of the tribes of Yizraal, Louis first, and I second, Yusef third, Binyamin fourth, Shimun fifth, Yissachar sixth, and so all in order. And Yahudah shall barak Louis, and the messenger of the presence me, the powers of esteem, Shimon, the Shemayim, Reuben, the Eretz, Yissachar, the sea, Zabulon, the mountains, Yusef, the Mishkan, Benjamin, the luminaries, Dan, Adon, Naphtali, the greater light, Gad, the lesser light, Ashar. And you shall be the people of Yahudah, and have one tongue, and there shall be no spirit of deceit of Belial, for he shall be cast into the fire forever. And those who have died in grief shall arise in joy, and those who were poor for the sake of Yahudah shall be made rich, and those who are put to death for the sake of Yahudah shall awake to height. And the deer of Yaaqub shall run in joyfulness, and the eagles of Yizraal shall fly in gladness, and all the people shall esteem Yahudah forever. Chapter 26. Therefore, my Ba'anim, observe all the Torah of Yahudah, for there is expectation for all those who hold fast to his ways. And he said to them, See, this day I die before your eyes 119 years old. Let no one bury me in costly garments, nor tear open my bowels, for those our sovereigns do this, and carry me up to Hebron with you. And when he had said these words, Yahudah fell asleep, and his Ba'anim did according to all that he commanded them, and they buried him in Hebron with his fathers.